About a year ago, maybe about a year ago, you know what? I don't know how long it's been, but at some point in the past, we talked about this story of North Carolina wanting these anti-abortion choose life license plates. Okay, now this particular one seems to be a South Carolina one, but that's okay. We're talking about North Carolina, no big deal.
Well, I couldn't find one for North Carolina because, as Dave is about to mention, they haven't come out.
Exactly. So a judge has now ruled after an ACLU lawsuit that these choose life plates are unconstitutional. I believe this is the correct ruling. This is federal judge James Fox ruled that the state's attempt to offer only a choose life plate represents discrimination in violation of the First Amendment. So initially Fox had blocked the state from issuing the plates last year because of this lawsuit while this was being determined. And we have a number of comments on this, including from Chris Brook, the legal director of the ACLU's North Carolina Legal Foundation. He says this isn't actually about abortion, it's about free speech. And he says, quote, "The problem here is the lack of balance. It's a First Amendment issue. If you're going to have this government avenue for private speech, you need to allow speech on both sides of the political debate to occur." So I think we need to distinguish here. It is not unconstitutional to have a license plate designated that is anti-abortion. What is unconstitutional is not to have one that has an opposing view. Now, the problem I see here, guys, is there are probably more views than just I am for or against abortion as a thing, right? And really, even if there was a choose choice or, people for choice license plate, there are probably still views that are not represented in that black-white dichotomy there.
Yeah, if you're going to have one, you have to have the other. But in general, I don't think a state should be issuing license plates that say either. I mean, if license plates are only state issued, that shouldn't be what's written on them either way.
Another interesting thing is that a portion of the proceeds for people who choose the Choose Life license plate would be earmarked for a nonprofit that supports something called a crisis pregnancy center. That's a whole other can of worms. You remember, Lewis, when we had on this show, I forget his name at this point, but it's the only guy who ever hung up on me, who ran some emergency pregnancy centers or whatever. And even though it's called a pregnancy center, they do not actually they are not licensed medical facilities in many cases. They also don't offer abortions, and many times are there to counsel women, essentially to delay them from choosing an abortion until it is legally impossible to do so. So the idea that potentially some of this money would be going there, I also have a huge problem with.
Right, definitely. Not honest, not balanced, not fair.
No question about it.